Hello.
Hello. Hi, babe.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? How was your holiday?
It was good. It was great. I'm just like it's Black Friday.
Are you buying stuff?
Not I mean when I buy stuff, I have noticed, I have peeped amidst everything like all this buy black language and buying
Oh.
women led businesses, and I love it.
Oh, me too. I mean, I haven't bought anything
I haven't bought anything.
today yet, just because I don't know. Maybe I needed to start my Christmas. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm gonna do about this Christmas shopping. Like, maybe that's what I need to do because usually my mom comes here and then she brings all the Christmas presents back for me.
That's lovely.
Wait, 1 second. So trying to join the Zoom and I can't seem to get through. Okay, quick question. What time does our Zoom start?
It's now, lovey, and I think people are coming in.
Oh, wait, I'm not dressed.
Okay, well, why don't you go dress? It's now.
Wait, I thought it was 7
They're in
p.m.
here now.
my time.
15 people in here right now.
Wait, they're not on with us.
Yes, love. Right.
Oh. Wait, why'd you guys have me talking all this stuff?
I was like, oh, she's okay, darling. I'll host and you go and
Oh no. Hey, I had a cute outfit.
you do
It's
have a
okay.
but see, okay. I thought you were just jumping in, and what I was gonna say is I feel like you have to get in the spirit. So that's why we're here today, everyone. I'm Candice, and Tamu.
Hi guys, I'm Tamu. So here's the funny thing about me, right? I can plan a thing and then get the time wrong. So yeah, so welcome to our Friendsgiving celebration. And I'm glad that you guys got the intimate part of our conversation with me talking about my holiday shopping, and my mom usually comes because I clearly didn't realize what was going on. But I'm not embarrassed because this has basically been my entire fall season, like one funny thing after the other, like this. And I'm happy because it broke the ice for me. Because guess what, guys? I was so nervous about today. Ask Candice. I was super nervous because we've been planning for months to do this. And, our mutual friends introduced us, and they adore Candice. And, Candice is like a superstar person. Tell them what you do. Oh, so someone is trying to get in. So first of all, let me do something. Let me introduce Milan. Milan is our host for the evening. She is the executive editor on All the Pretty Birds, and she's handling this evening. Some people are having some issues getting in, Milan. So can you just check to see that they're getting on? I see that. I don't see, oh, there's 16 participants. I see you now. I'm really sorry that I didn't put on my pretty dress for you because I thought this was the run through, but this is me. This is actually me, people. So Milan, are we waiting for more people to join before we continue?
Yeah, we have a few people that are still streaming in. I'm slowly sifting through these emails. So
It's great.
We're getting it squared away.
Okay, so wait, there's some while we wait, because we're not in the waiting room anymore. So okay, so here okay, so we have Chloe was trying to figure out her video. Simon is laughing at me, but he completely knows this is me. I was gonna wear a white dress, but that's not happening. Sumi's all dressed up for the occasion, and Marva is here. Hi. Okay, so we're gonna wait a little more.
Marva's a
We
friend.
can wait. I mean, we're in the company of friends, so it's up to you guys. We can wait a few minutes if you'd like. I know I just sent out a couple more invitations to people that were in my email, so they're gonna stream in. I'll let people in. If you guys just want to chat it up and, you know, warm up the environment. I see so many friendly faces in the attendees. It's exciting.
As a great illustrator and painter and also video editor, mixed media artist. And Susie Cornell is my friend who has a publicity firm, woman-led Prana. This is exciting. Oh, and Marva is the owner of, oh my gosh, Tamu, you would love this place called Ode to Babel in Brooklyn.
Oh, no, I know Ode to Babel. I've been following Ode to Babel for years.
Marva's baby with her sister.
For years. I would say would I be mistaken if I said from when I started out? Like, I remember, yeah, right? So like that was after 2008, I had already been seeing, first of all, on social media, I was following, since I've been here for 15 years and I'm not in New York City for a long period of time. When I'm in town, I don't get to go around often, but no, OG on that. Totally OG.
I think like it's a wonderful point of inspiration to talk about Ode to Babel. It's one of the many Black businesses and women-led businesses that we can support today. And you know, one of the things we wanted to talk about, I promise I will introduce myself, but I feel like because of who's in the room with us, and Shanae,
Is she in?
Yes, but she said
Yes.
myself, and that's because Milan is like figuring out how she's going to lay us all out. We might just be, you might just be able to see Tamu and myself. She's going to lay it out. But but you're here. We see you. I mean, we know that you're here. Definitely, you know, comment and question. But we're going to talk a lot about empowerment, and we're going to talk about getting in this spirit. And the whole Christmas shopping thing, I think, is like an outstretch. It's like an extension of getting in the spirit. How do you feel like grounded and joyful and wanting to do all these things in this moment? For me, the reason why we wanted to do this is, even though Tamu and I do different things, we're both creative women, and we've chosen to shape our whole lives around what we create. In her case, she is a genius editor
she's way too generous.
I think sis is a genius. I was gonna curse. I think she's so, I mean, we all do. Like, we love what she does, and she's able to do it in many different applications and dimensions and iterations. And I find it really inspiring. So I've been peeping her for a while before we got to be friends this summer. And we met through our friends Anya and Danielle, who are also really creative. Danielle's a writer, and Anya is kind of like producer, editorial, writer.
She's your deluxe behind the scenes person that's making so much of the things that you're seeing in New York and abroad happen. And she is, I would say Anya is the person that you want in your corner in a 360 degree holistic fashion. Like, she's got your brain, she's thinking about your brain, she's thinking about your creativity, she's really encouraging you to be your best you. So that's Anya from behind the scenes. You know, and she's got her own really cool inspiring space on social media. I have to say, her stories about Matilda, her daughter, as well as the charities that she's sponsoring. She's sponsoring a ton of charities in New York's under her. She created a website, and it's called New York Never Sleeps NYC. If I'm messing that up, we can check later. And so make sure you guys go and see that, because I think one of the charities that she was working with was donating presents to underserved families. So definitely check out Anya. And she is part of the amazing mutual friend duo that introduced Candice and I.
So
and
we're all like,
wait.
We go, yeah.
Are you Candice or Candice?
It's Candice. So she's being silly. She knows. But I was gonna say, like, I think that that's what brought us together and made us instantly comfortable. I'm a musician and I'm a producer, And at the time, I kind of felt this push and pull. I released new music in August, and yeah, Tamu and I met before that, and I was doing all the preparations. And it was a real season of kind of tilling the soil and laying foundations. And when you're laying creative foundations, you want to be around the right people. And when we jumped on the phone and we started talking not just about the song and the music I was going to release, but we happened to both be reading Zora Neale Hurston. And Zora Neale Hurston is one of the chief inspirations for my single, which is called Zora's Moon. And so Tamu and I, we started sharing passages and scenes that we love, and it just sort of let all the armor and the anxiety of this time that we've been going through just melt away. And so I think we slowly started thinking about this conversation as a way to talk about how to be creative, how to be joyful amidst a time of uncertainty and anxiety. I'm going to share my music and my process, and she's going to share her editorial ideas and her process. And we want your questions. So in a
Yes.
nutshell, that's her and that's us.
I think, and also one of the things that we were experiencing was that we were reflecting on our feelings and how we were processing everything that was being thrown our way this summer. And both of us had this undeniable urge to reach out to our communities and beyond and to create this moment of healing. Because we were saying, if we feel this way and if we feel this stressed and if we feel this anxious, and if we're trying to figure out how to make sure that our children are thriving under these really intense conditions, online schooling, not seeing their friends, and if our members in our community are losing their jobs, losing their funding for their projects, how were they feeling and how could we help? How could we be of service? And this is why we thought of this moment. Like in every conversation we had, our conversations were quite therapeutic because we were talking about everything that was going on. We were talking about all of the horrific murders that took place. We were talking about Breonna Taylor. We were talking about Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. We were talking about how impassioned we were and how inspired we were by the BLM protests. And we were talking about how we just wanted to go forward, how to keep this momentum up. The elections, essentially the lead up to the elections were very concerning for us. And we were saying that if, after these elections, no matter what happened, we were thinking, what would members in our communities be feeling? Like how would they be dealing? This is 3 weeks ago, the election took place, and we were concerned. And, we just said we have to unify our two, distinct storytelling capabilities so that we can offer this moment. This is a particular holiday season, for example. Many of us are celebrating at home with only our immediate family, and many of us are celebrating alone. And this is vastly different from anything that we've experienced in our lifetimes and in this generation. And so we were just very concerned for our community members. We were concerned about how they were feeling, and we wanted to just create this moment of joy, and we wanted to just tap into the power of joy. And we also wanted to offer our gratitude in this space because this has been a very challenging year. There's been so much sacrifice and so much loss. However, there have been a lot of blessings, and we have to take a moment and just acknowledge the blessings that we have, the small things that we can hold on to that are important and that will help us get through. So I don't know, Milan, where are we in terms of time? Should we go into our performance because we have a super treat? What's our situation?
Yeah, let's go into the performance. Or if Candice, if you would like to talk more about your process, inspiration.
I think I think that both of you are right. Let's do both. We'll do the sharing of the music. And Tamu and I were really intentional that we wanted to find a way to just share a moment of groove and fun and kind of unpin. So this little studio setting that you see here is where I do a lot of creating. I have my mixer and my microphone over here, and my guitar is over here. And so we just did a live performance earlier this week of Zora's Moon that I want to share from my home to yours. And then we'll dig into process and things that we think we'd like to share and you could apply. And please leave your questions too. Oh, Milan, would you mind taking me off too?
You don't want to see yourself groove out? So I have to be the only groover?
I'm good here.
Give me 1 minute, ladies.
Take your time. But I mean, I echo everything Tamu said. And we'd love to hear your questions, your ideas. It's actually a really powerful room of women in here. Can we update the settings so we can all see ourselves in groups together? Oh, I love Shanae. She's like innovating our format as we go. Maybe we could try that. This is the first, and I think that we have some different prompts that we're going to share too about how to create in this time. This has like been challenging for me to an extent to set up a home studio. I'm staying with my parents through the end of the year, and I had to be really economical because I've lost a lot of concert work for the next year. So I had to think about, what do I really need to make music, and that is a really good question for a creative person. And you were talking to me about reorganizing with all the pretty birds. And even when I recorded Zora's Moon, I'm an independent artist. So I did it out of very sort of limited means. I was pregnant with my baby Marcus too. So I had limited energy sometimes. And it was like, it's a very male dominant industry where they don't understand the sort of upheaval inside of you when you're pregnant and you're creating something. But I also felt like it was a great time to make Zora's Moon, because it was connecting me and rooting me in Zora Neale Hurston. I am an archivist. I love to dig through images, sound files. This one is from 1943 of Zora Neale Hurston, one of the great 20th century American writers. We both share that opinion. If you haven't read Zora Neale Hurston,
her words are like a gorgeous, rich pour of wine. Like when I was rereading during the pandemic, the first lockdown here in Italy, I literally was like, ah! And then I listened to it, and Ruby D was the narrator, and the words rolling off her tongue, I was like, I was transformed in that moment, because I had suffered so much during the lockdown here in Italy. When I started to listen to the words, that was my release. And like, there were moments where I was like hitting the kitchen counter. It was exquisite.
And I think that we have to remember that as women creators, and many of us here are Black women and women of color. The imagination is a powerful tool in this time. And the imagination, and I think when we were talking about some of the other thinkers that we've read to understand what's happening in the world, Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks, the poetry of Lucille Clifton, we were trading our book stack as well while we were chatting. That a big part is not just what's happening in the streets. A big part of where we're headed as Black people and Black women and artists is the power of the imagination. And you can unfold that and fully, I'm getting goosebumps as you're talking about that sense of it being a pour of wine, which I love because it goes directly in and it's just for you. And and that's such a good analogy, Tamu, of wine, because That's why I love archives. I love archival photos. I love archival tears from magazines. I'm like a big, I don't know, did you used to like pull things from magazines when you were a kid?
Definitely. And I used to paste them to my walls. So,
I used to do that too. I mean, we'll get into that too when we start talking about process, but
but the thing is, though, I want to just like emphasize how cosmic our connection was also because you picked a clip to which I had I have a very vivid memory of when she was, when Zora was discovering herself because it happened to my son. And as a mother, I remember the lights reflecting off the water, the moon reflecting off the water in Santa Margherita, Ligure. And when you told me that, I was like, I remember his face, I remember his curiosity. Tell me more about your project. And I remember the day we were talking about it. Please tell us about pulling that archival piece, and unpack it for us.
yes. So I was at a really challenging crossroads in about 2017 as an artist. I was several years outside of school. I had done this large tour a few years before that, still, about 2015, with Jazz at Lincoln Center for a month. And it was like a formative experience for me, thinking about the artistic bar had set for myself. And I recorded my first EP, which is very rare Duke Ellington music. So it was very heavy in the archival uh, thrust that really juices me up from the time I was a student at Harvard and I was studying sociology. I've always loved digging, like digging in record crates, digging in stacks, digging in a pile of vintage clothes, like digging in through my grandma's stuff. I find myself through remembrances and through history. And so I made this recording and I felt like navigating the business in 2017, it just got to such a point of friction for me, because there's a certain way that people like to recount history. It's very narrow. It's very like commercially uh, dictated, and it doesn't always leave space for marginalized narratives, stories of Black women that are uncommon, that are more rubbing against stereotypes, rubbing against the familiar. And that's exactly where I live. And there was one brush up I had with this business person presiding over a festival where he like kind of just made my work a bit reductive in the way he presented it. And I say a bit because it was just maybe a small thing to him, but it was important to me. And so having this sense of internal crisis as an artist, I turned to biographies of Zora Neale Hurston. I've always loved her books. Like you were saying about your son, there was a sort of adolescent process of reading Zora Neale Hurston that really sparked my womanhood as an artist. I think around 16, 18, I started, writing my own songs, playing around with that. And I found the biographies weren't enough. And I went further and started listening to archival audio footage of Hurston and watching her films. Zora Neale Hurston is the first Black woman filmmaker of non-silent film. And many people don't know that, in 1929. And some of that footage you can find, a lot of it in the Library of Congress online. So I found this interview she did in 1943, and she was talking about a passage she wrote in one of her autobiographies, Dust Tracks on a Road. And she was talking about the sensation of running at night when she was a little girl and feeling like the moon was following her. And I had read that passage. I went back to Dust Tracks on a Road and reread where she was talking about that. But hearing her say it in her own voice was transformative to me. It connected me in a visceral way to another time, to someone who'd been so inspirational to me. And also just the idea that she was on this national talk show And she was in conversation with a white woman named Mary Margaret McBride, who's a lesbian, one of the big, first big women hosts on national radio, who had a show for decades and was very progressive and had Black artists like County Cullen and Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston as guests on the show to tell their story from their own point of view, which I also found really magnificent to hear these two women in conversation. But the fact that Hurston was saying all these things about being a child that are so small and intimate that I hadn't even thought of memorializing them in any way. But I used to think that the moon was following me when I was little, mostly driving in the back of my parents' car. And both of our families are Jamaican, and Jamaican people have these late sessions, they call them, basement parties. And back and forth between my house and my auntie or my uncle's house, and we're looking out the window at 3 o'clock in the morning, because you bring your whole family to these type of basement.
Yeah, there's no babysitter situation.
Babysitter in
Other
it.
kids are babysitting you.
And the grandparents are there. And yes, and the older kids are supposed to watch you, and you're all dancing. And the moon used to follow me in the back seat of the car. And I thought everything about the imagery, everything about the intimacy of this childhood memory, everything about her centering herself as a child in that way, as a figure of power and enchantment and magic, and my having the opportunity suddenly, because once your mind is open, you have an opportunity to make a song about it and center my work around that and feel what that feels like, instead of feeling like I was sort of weaving around the constructs of my industry, was the whole like new course for recording what was first a song, and then I ended up recording an album before pandemic. We ended, and I got my master's around February. So that's the fulsome version of why and how for Zora's Moon. So shall we just
Milan, you got us? Okay.
I got us. We're about to start.
Okay.
Hi, friends. This is Zora's Moon.
Well, I was amused at so many of the stories in Dust Tracks on the Road. There was one thing you said about children that I love. Isn't it true that when we're little, we just think the world revolves around us?
Yeah.
Things are going to happen to other people, bad things. They aren't going to happen to us. No, sir. And that thing you said about the moon. Tell us
Well, if you go outdoors tonight and the moon is up, you get the first place the moon is in right now. But anyhow, if the moon is shining, you go out and you run, and it'll follow you.
And so it was arranged. The moon would follow me, whatever tell way I ran. The moon would follow me, and I was shocked when I found out it followed other people. 'Cause I thought I was just something very special, and still I didn't quite believe it, how it could go with them when I'm going my way. Going my way. Well, if you go outdoors tonight and the moon is up, you go out and you run, and it will follow you. So disillusioned when I
Oh my God, I love that you made that recording just for us. So wait, I think let's see, because I was scrolling into the comments to see if anyone had any comments, any questions about your, your recording studio that you've put together during this time, about, re-recording the song for us. Let's see. So let's see. There are a lot of beautiful thank yous. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. What? I was muted. I was like, thank you. All those words that I sang are Hurston's words. So I sample a piece, and then the rest of the words are exactly her words from the rest of the interview. And it took me like a year to figure out what melody goes with her words. And I walked around with it in my purse for, or like my work bag or whatever for like a long time until the melody came to me. The spirit just, I knew how I wanted it to match the cadence of how she speaks. Because as we, with the book, Their Eyes Were Watching God, one of the things that she like really was an innovator in her work was capturing the colloquial language and keeping it as a part of the story. And so I wanted to have the inflection and the cadence and the colloquialism of the way she told that story in just to kind of make a living monument and space of Black women and our history and and our impact in like giving it the space that I think it needs and deserves. So that's the first single. And then it's been really a great process. NPR premiered it, which was huge.
Congrats.
And then it's been picked up by different places like Apple and Vogue, and it's really been exciting. And I think it's because of the breadth of this story that reflects what's going on in the world in certain ways that it's just resonating with people. So I'm so excited, and it's become a point of inspiration for me on like how I can work, that I don't have to leave any part of myself out. I can put it in.
I think that is going to be pivotal considering what has happened this spring for Black women moving forward. I think that we've always known our power, but I think that others have discovered how powerful we are. Not that we're looking for validation anymore, because I don't think that we need to do that. And I don't think that we're doing that. But all of the things that we've been criticized for, our angriness, which I believe in. My passion doesn't mean I'm angry, and if I'm angry, I have a lot of things to be angry about, so don't call me out for that. But I think something that you said was bringing the colloquial language into it, and not trying to like whitewash the way you speak to satisfy some, the white patriarchy. Like, and I really believe that. And I think that as we go forward 2021, I feel that we need to express ourselves in our full form, all of our form, unapologetically, with all of the energy, no filters. And I think that's why, looking back at, these seminal works, we have so much to learn, and revisiting them in a time of uncertainty, specifically because I think that's when we go back to our roots, and we go back to the messages of these visionary women who were writing, who were so brave, who were so unique of their time, and take that forward, and never forget it. Because I think, unfortunately, between between the time that this work came out and now, we've been time and time again forced to deny the power of the work and our power in that strength, the strength of our power. But I hope that we don't turn back again, and I hope that we maintain everything that you have described going forward, because that's our strength. And like listening to Ruby D read the words, and like, I mean, I can't do it. I never learned how to do it, but I wish I could snap, like, it's coming. I'm almost breaking my wrist. But that's how good it was. And I was like, yes, this is me. This is my mood. This is me forever now. You know, no one's gonna hold me back. So you have a bonus song for us.
Oh, yes. So yes, I do. So the next one that we selected is a song. One of the things, and I'll tell you the story that I sometimes tell in a concert venue, just to set this up. So the song is called Pink Clouds, and when I was little, I still have very bad vision. I wear contacts now, but I really wanted to be an astronaut, and that was like the first thing when I realized that going to space could be a job in my, that was what I wanted to do. I joined Young Astronauts and and I came to find out that you couldn't really go up to space unless your vision was perfect. And so I counted myself out of being an astronaut. And around that time, I also discovered my voice. So it was like age 11 or 12. And I've always been influenced by science fiction as well. And one night, my older child, Marielle, she was stalling. She didn't want to go to sleep. And she knows what to do when she doesn't want to go to sleep. I'm sure everybody knows this hustle, right? She starts telling me something fascinating. She said, "Mama." I said, "Yes." "What is it? Water? What do you need?" "Bathroom." She said, "I just wanted to tell you, Miss Lau taught us about Mars today." And I said, "Okay, this sounds like one of those things I need to encourage." So I said, tell me more." She said, "Did you know the clouds are pink on Mars? And at sunrise, they're fuchsia?" And I said, "Oh, I knew, but I actually hadn't thought about it in a long time." So she starts talking and I start writing down, and that became the lyrics for something that turned into a love song. But I owe it to my daughter, who connected me with this imagery that I just didn't want to ever lose. So
Yes.
the song.
This song is called Pink Clouds.
You ever wanted to love in another time and place? Do you know the clouds are pink on Mars, on Mars? It's sunrise fuchsia, my love. In the coldest place they've ever known, there are pink clouds. Do you wanna live my love to start to stay? To leave your ghosts on earth and make our way? And the sunset stretches purple blue, and I'm with you.
Hi,
That's
friends.
so dreamy. That's so dreamy. Oh my
Thank
gosh. Do you guys have questions about the song?
No one's heard that. That one's hi. Thanks, Jonalyn. That's not out yet. I'm so excited. But we were very like interested in me opening up, letting everybody see the process. So that's something. Zora's Moon is out and Pink Clouds is not yet out, but it's formed. And we're really interested because we understand, and we were talking a lot about the feeling of abundance and the tension of abundance that you have as an artist and a creative person, and the disappointment of this time, and that there's a direct rub. And I think, no matter what you have gained, you may have felt you have lost opportunities. A lot of us have lost work, or we feel, challenges in our family life in many different realms. And so we wanted to look towards the process, because there's a lot of abundance in the process. And even sharing this piece that I haven't released yet with Tamu was really it's really exciting for me, because I got to share it with somebody who I know has love for me, and she was like, yes, you have to do that one too, like we need that. So that, I think, leaning on people in this time will help you to just tilt your gaze into the abundance that you have in the process.
100%. And I think for me, the time that I've gained in this period, because I have so much more time than I normally have, even if I didn't realize what time we were starting. That's something else. The time that I have had, I've like reconnected with so many people. I've connected and reconnected, and we have spent a lot of time talking on the phone, messaging, talking about different things. And I know that if I need help, I can definitely reach out to them. And the other thing is, one of the most important themes that we've ever had on All the Pretty Birds was the abundance theme, because as a creator, that's a constant tension, because all of the challenges that come with creating, they are attacking you constantly, and they kind of knock you off your feet in the process. And the thing is that, the creativity is it's born in our hearts. Like, it's in our hearts, and it's in our creative wombs. And the thing is that the process can be so difficult, and the world can be so difficult, that you second guess yourself. So when we released our theme in June of last year, that's what we were trying to share with everyone. Never, abundance, and the abundance that you are inherently born with, that's not going to change even in a period like this. You have more inner strength and magic than you know, and you have a community that's there to support you, and you just have to surrender to that tension, and to just believe that you can reach out for help, and that you also can find from within what you need to ask for, because that's really important as well. But that's another funny thing, because that's where I think All the Pretty Birds, in our relaunch, we started with abundance, because once you realize that, you really have no limits.
I totally agree, and we're open to your any questions, and Milan is going to help us to make sure, because we wanted to make ourselves we just wanted to show up today for our loved ones, which are you all, and our muses. And I think our ideas and our creative vision are our birthright.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I wanted to like slow down and say what I meant to say. Yes, they are our birthright. We are entitled to that, and that is our domain, and that is our space, and there's much to be found in that. I want to ask you a quick question, like at the foundational level, why and what made you start All the Pretty Birds as a creative person? Like, what was it that made you crave that next step to start that, your own platform? Because there are a lot of women here who are thinking, and femmes who are thinking of starting a platform. Like, what was it like? I mean, did you have someone, some sort of large entity behind you, or did you start it super independently?
Well, I think I was a late entrepreneurial bloomer because, like you, I went to law school and business school because as a child of an immigrant, I was told that I was encouraged to do, I wasn't told, I was encouraged to do about, four things. I could go to medical school, I could study accounting, I could go to law school. Yeah, no, three things. I was encouraged to do three things. So, I, huh? Yeah. So I had to, medical school was a no because I was like a hypochondriac on like another level. So that was just not going to work. I'm not strong in quantitative studies, so I couldn't really go. I mean, I have an MBA in finance, but I might explain how that happened later. So basically, I decided to go to law school. And I went to law school, and a friend of mine is the one that pointed out that my spirit was really in fashion. And so, as I shared with you, I have this Virgo side of me that's like a planner. So I was like, got it. That's under control. I'll work in a law firm, or I'll work as a retail analyst at an investment bank for X years, and then I'll move into Chanel and I'll be the general counsel there. That was my plan. But as time went on, it was obvious that I wanted to work in fashion. When I moved to Milan and I met the editor who would essentially start my career, he handed me the camera because I didn't have any photography experience. And I took, hundreds of pictures for him. And at a certain point, I was like, not all of these pictures are getting published. I might as well, start my own blog. It was on Blogger at the time because, and that's when I was discovering Ode to Babel, because it was back then. We were all on Blogger essentially. And is that if my memory is off, please, just set me straight. So basically, I started it as a portfolio of my work because I started in fashion in a non-conventional fashion background, and I wanted to show my work and show my creativity. And at the time, what's funny, I was speaking to someone the other day, and I was on a live, and I think I explained that you have to use whatever resources you have. Like, look, I went to see an editor. We had a meeting. I had no fashion background. So I did a project using I had a Polaroid camera because, Polaroid cameras came back into style in 2006, right? So I made this whole mood board using Polaroids, and I was like, this is the only access I have because I don't have Photoshop. I didn't have access to any of like the trend research services online. I didn't have any of that, and I could have cut out magazines, but I was going to a magazine editor, so that wasn't going to work. And I show up with my board, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is so fresh." And I was like, "Oh, great." So, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your creative, your creative process, and never be afraid to try something that might seem kind of wonky at the time, because it probably isn't. You're probably bringing a fresh perspective. As time went on, I was listening constantly to what the readers of oh, well, okay, let's rewind. Even though even though he put the camera in my hand, I think my underlying purpose has been clear this entire time, because right away when I launched the blog, I came up with my tagline, which was, you may find, I'm going to butcher it, and I can't recite it word for word, but basically, no matter where you fall on the fashion spectrum, some of us are going to fall outside of the lines, and some of us are going to, be right there, but we're all pretty birds. And and it was immediately a message of inclusivity in the sense that everybody's style is important, everybody's style is valid. And if I'm a street style photographer, I'm supposed to be memorializing all sorts of style for everyone to inspire everyone. And so that's where that came from. Milan, I don't think you know where it is in the drive, but if we could share that later. So that's, I always had that sense of really trying to represent and give something to everyone, not because I don't have a particular, it's clear that I have my particular style, but that would be boring if I only considered myself all the time. I have to, say it. So as time went on, I was like really listening to and reacting to what the readers wanted. At a certain point, readers were interested to know more about me. And that's going to be on most platforms. You are your best marketer. You are your best, testimonial. You are your best face. So people were interested in knowing more about me. And I was very shy. And I had to ask my friend Kenya Hunt, who she's the fashion director at Grazia UK. She just published her new book, Girl. That would be a great Christmas present. Yes, support our Black authors and our Black businesses. And so I asked her, and I really trust her, and she encouraged me to put my face out there more. But it was a process, and I'm not a shy person. Like, my friends know that I'm not shy, but communicating yourself to the world, that's a bit intimidating for me. And that's why I think I was nervous today about our Zoom, and I got myself worked up. But so that's kind of the process. So I listen to everything that my readers and that our readers and my followers, supporters on social tell me. I look at it, I absorb it, I evaluate it, I take it in, and I interpret it for what works for me. And so I think when you connect with your community and you're listening and you're learning, I learn a huge amount of what I do is I'm directly influenced by what my amazing community is doing. And I think that it's such a valuable source of inspiration, and that's what's gotten me through. And I say it all the time because I live in Milan. I travel a lot for work, but I need lots of eyes and I need lots of ears to be able to really create something rich. And so when we relaunched All the Pretty Birds, we created a new mission statement. The website hasn't changed. We're here to represent all sorts of women. We're of service. And I always say to the team, look, even if we're talking about a lipstick, I need this lipstick to make our women's lives easier. Like, if she doesn't have time to look for the lipstick needs to be the most beautiful, perfect thing that makes you feel more special than you already are, because these things just adorn and enhance us. We're unequivocally beautiful inside out. But if this is a service that we're offering, and how can we enhance the lives of women? And that's it. We're here and we're of service. And I use that to as a guide and as a compass of everything that we do. There's always a person that I'm thinking of. There's always, if I'm thinking about education, I'm literally thinking about the child in their room dreaming to do something. And I have found that when we lead like that, you don't get lost.
Tamu, I think that's excellent. And I just wanted to throw out there, it kind of leads into one of the questions that we got from Simon. He asked, as a creative, what is your why, and how would you like to use your talent as a vehicle to make the world a better place?
Before we move ahead, I just want to insert something. It is great to support the artists in your community, because as we talk on Black Friday about buying Black, sharing a painter, sharing a music artist, sharing a publication like All the Pretty Birds, we're all businesses. Everyone in this room is a business as well. It doesn't have to be a Black consumer brand, supporting a music artist, following or sharing a link or adding to a playlist is another way. We're all artists, but we're also entrepreneurial. So part of that is something, you know, you can really make a contribution in that way too.
And I will add that Shanae, she's the founder of Kensington Gray Agency, and she represents talent of color, women of color. So go support the creators of creatives of color also.
And I want to amplify something Beth Ann said in the comment.
Okay.
She said, I'm trying to scroll and it's like not letting me, but I remember what she said. She said,
Oh.
Tamu, it's never too late to be a late bloomer. I think as long as you bloom, then you're good. So we're going to share a couple of concrete tools before the end of this little chat. We're going to share a couple of the tools that we use to start something new, whether you're by yourself and you're starting something new, or you have a team with you.
Just one quick question, Milan. Beth Ann told us that we're going over an hour. Okay, you've got it. Okay. We're going to be a little bit longer, but I'm kind of feeling that we need to do this more often. If you guys want to join us another time, and we can invite you as panelists, and we can invite anyone else that you think is amazing and would be a great contributor to our conversation, drop it in the chat. We are here to do this because this is too much fun. Next time, I will know what time it is and I'll get dressed. But that wouldn't be me, and I'm happy that you guys have met me in person in my grunge look. Today's my grunge look.
So what is the question, Milan? Could you just read it and we'll make sure we get to that question quickly, and then I guess, are we going to stay a little longer?
We're staying, yeah.
Let's end at 1:30 if people can, just to answer whatever more personal questions there are. But Simon's question was, as a creative artist, what is your why? And how would you like to use your talent as a vehicle to make the world a better place?
So my why is self-expression, and it's also a matter of storytelling. I think that adding dimension to the way that we see the world is very important, especially as a Black woman for me, where my history and certain aspects of my story have been often sort of suppressed or covered. Even as a child whose parents come from Jamaica, my family, my heritage is, parts of it are unknown to me. And so, I mean, because Jamaica is such a island of multi-ethnic origins, like I know that I'm Afro-Caribbean, but there's a certain specificity in my history that wasn't, set on paper and documented. And I think that's the case for a lot of Black people, because of how we came to this country, whether it was through slavery or just of limited means. And so it's just a really important aspect of my heritage that has, I think, shaped my perspective. Also, I studied classical music a long time, and I was singing a lot of classical music, and that also began to feel very constrictive to me, as much as I was singing at Carnegie Hall and wonderful venues and singing opera. And I was telling Tamu the day we met that I speak Italian. But there's certain small range of stories I was able to tell, playing the girl next door, having a high voice, and sort of playing one way of gendered stories that didn't fit the breadth of who I am. And so the why is always about self-expression, and it's always about expanding the space, so that the audiences who inherit the space, the artists who come in my generation or the artists who come after me, have a broader playing field. And I'm really, really committed every time I sit down at the keyboard or with a staff paper to write something or to sing of anything I starts with telling stories. So just pouring myself into that process, not thinking about, like, is this going to be a hit, or who is this going to be considered jazz, or is this going to be considered soul, or considered classical music? Like, the category doesn't matter, the commercialization of it doesn't matter. Not at the inception of the idea. The inception of the idea, the integrity and the expansiveness of the idea is all that I am concerned with. So that's always my why. And I actually have a video that I made for Zora's Moon. I shot it in Brooklyn, and it was the first time I directed anything. And that's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube right now. And I think Milana is going to put up a link for that, so you can see that. But that was also really important to me because, you know, even as Beth Ann mentioned that late blooming is still blooming, Zora Neale Hurston actually forged her birth certificate to get into college and became the first Black woman to attend Columbia University in Barnard, because she changed the time construct, if you ask me, and took hold of the situation for her empowerment and betterment, and created a new inroad for herself. And that's the way that I am looking at things. And another thing she did was pave ways in the way of filmmaking. So I wanted to make a film, to like a music film, to go with my song, to just make a fuller picture of the story. So those are my whys. And I don't think they'll ever change. I think even when you're a little kid and you're making up a song and you don't think anyone's ever going to hear it, that's also the same why. It's like, what makes the point the most acutely, and what is truest to what I want to say.
Yes, I mean, and I love when we can find, like, when we can find our whys and when we can stay centered on them. But they are reoccurrent, and the interesting thing that I have to say is, and I don't know if you have experienced this during the pandemic, as we're getting downloads often of new information that we have to add to what we know about our whys and how we can actually execute our whys or realize our whys or apply our whys. Are you receiving these downloads that are occurring, new pieces of information that we need to process,
right,
and apply into to our why? Has that been happening to you? Because it's been happening to me.
Yeah, I think the downloads as far as information have been like changing my perspective from the very beginning, because a pandemic is something that we've never contemplated. It's beyond the imagination. We represent a few generations perhaps in this conversation. We invited high school students, young women and femmes to this conversation. We may have some of those folks in here, and we have women who are in their career, and you know, in some senses felt like they had seen everything and figured everything out, and then the apple cart is overturned. So having to shift your perspective to understand that people might feel overwhelmed, they might be unemployed. There are people who have been evicted, millions of people. And so you offer your work to the world in that context without feeling and presuming you're the priority. Deadlines and timetables and seasons of a presentation or a Grammy season, all those things, my touring schedule, time suddenly becomes different. So that was a major download for me. It's like, how fluid can you be in this time? How adaptable can you be? And that's the external stuff. And then the other down was like my personal emotional life. Oh dear, I told you, and I'll tell everyone here, like I feel depressed sometimes. And one day, Tamu and I were talking, and we're just talking about how do we get out of bed? Like, what are the simple joys that you can connect to? Cocktails are fine occasionally, but it's not
Yeah.
not a method. It's not a tool. And so for me, like the tools, the downloads, Marva's like Marva's TV had a cocktail. I like to have cocktails at Oats about yes. So, but I would say like a download for me was I want to put a song out. You know, sis, I want to I want to contribute to your playlist with your Badu and your Jill Scott and your Chloe Halle, and I want to make a statement. I want to say something. Um I won't be silenced by the overall trauma of this time. I will not. I will cut my voice through the sound and the noise. And I wanted it to be something with a deep groove. I have all different kinds of songs that I recorded for the album, but I really intentionally chose Zora's Moon because it connects us to our legacy beyond these current protests. I wanted it to feel timeless, and I wanted it to be a really grooving song so that as you're fixing your meals, you're making your avocado toast to move, or like, you know, you're doing your wash day routine, or you're driving, or you're doing a morning walk. All those restorative practices you can do with music. So it was really important for me to want to transmit that to people at a time like this. So that was a huge joy. So releasing the song was probably my greatest joy at this time. Another thing I started doing was working on my guitar. I started working on the blues a lot because I was feeling so sad and depressed. And nothing says it better for me than the blues. And I started writing essays, and I started trying to make my grandmother's recipes, Jamaican food. So I tried to make a better curry chicken. I work on my rice and peas, and those are some of the things that I downloaded, the joy downloads. What have been some things that brought you joy, Tamu?
Being here in Milan, it's difficult to connect with nature, but I am a sun sign. So, I mean, I love the sun, and I can sit here all throughout this pandemic and kind of sit here in this room that I always sit here. I think everyone knows this room now. And just sit here and let the sun wash over me. And it definitely changes my mood, but there's a huge connection. I am connected with the moon as well. And I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I was meditating because I thought it was really important for us to hold a space for all of the lives that were transitioning. It was very intense here. You know, Milan is very small compared to New York, for example, and we were devastated, and so that energy was incredible. So I was connecting with the moon, and that was giving me a lot of tranquility and a lot of joy, and to be able to just be present, notwithstanding the massive anxiety that I suffer from. That was really important. In my creative process, I have to say, leading up to February, like last September, I traveled between New York and Milan 4 times, and in the span of 12 days. And I remember when I returned to Milan, my lymph nodes were swollen because I was not used to that frequency of travel. I mean, I travel a lot, but not 4 times in 12 days. So compared to that period now, my creativity has completely shifted because I have time and I am enjoying the silence. When I work in the silence, and I'm extremely present, and I'm able to think things through, and I feel happy. And like the little tingly happy sensation comes in, and that's extraordinary because I haven't been able to sit still and really enjoy that process. Also, this time is great because one of the things that all of our followers and supporters have wanted is to see my closet, for example. But last year, we decided that we wanted to really encourage people to wear the clothes in their wardrobe, in their closets, and not be, feel the pressure to buy and to buy always and to overconsume, and this was for many reasons. One, I feel a huge sense of responsibility to anyone that supports me. I work in fashion. I have gifts. I have discounts. I have lots of product here to shoot, and so I'm shooting this content all the time. But if I didn't work in fashion, I wouldn't be able to afford all of this stuff. And I wanted to make that very clear to our readers, number one, because at a certain point I did a no spending challenge. I was inspired by a couple girlfriends, and one of the reasons why I did that is because we are in constant pursuit of material items, and we're not happy, and we're we buy things to make ourselves happy, and the thing is that they don't provide any joy, and after 2 minutes we're on to buying something else. And that's just fulfilling the ego, having I have this, I have that. So I was very concerned about anyone who is feeling that way. Number two, from a sustainability standpoint, we need to invest in pieces that last a long time, that we enjoy, that we aren't replacing over and over again. So we created a series called Repeat It, because we want people to consume responsibly. We want them to be truly happy. We want them to be satisfied with what they have in their lives. And we're also thinking about the planet, and we're thinking about our children, and we're thinking about their children. I had the time to share my closet, and I had the time to express that notion, because I have shoes that are 20 years old that I have here that I was saving because I thought maybe I would work as a stylist. So I have all that stuff here, and I was able to fulfill that message because I had the time. If I was traveling the way I do travel, outside of a pandemic, I would never have the time to climb into the closet, to look at all the pieces, to talk about this, because probably I would be communicating a bunch of things that that wouldn't permit me the time to share the messages that I want to emphasize more than I can when I'm really busy. So that's been great. And like I said earlier, I am so joyful that I get to nurture my relationships with everyone in my community, with my family, with my friends, that I am more available. When I moved to Milan, like, one of my friends know that friendship is really big for me. And if I can come to your wedding for a day, I would do it, however, like, when you're working as much as we work, you don't have a lot of patience, you don't have a lot of time, you can't like sit down and just enjoy a conversation and learn things about your friends that that you wouldn't know living in a foreign country. So that's been really important to me, and I've been happy that I've had this time, and that I've been happy to fulfill something that I want to do and something that is important to me. I always said that I was going to keep those connections, but when you're running, there literally isn't any time. And I don't know about you, sometimes with work and with family and with everything we're responsible, I have very, low bandwidth to then start a meaningful conversation. And sometimes I'll avoid it because if I can't give you what you need or what I think you deserve from me, from a friend, my attention, I'd rather not talk to you, because I want to be present. And sometimes it's not enough to say, okay, let's talk for 5 minutes, because I would never want anyone to feel that I'm penciling you in. And so, that's a thing that bothers me, because on my freak out the other day, why I was freaking out, So, those things, the fact that I've been able to satisfy these desires that I hold true to myself, I have experienced joy in that sense.
I love that. And I think that that's why like you said, I think that being a bit softer about time and the timing of like when you connect with certain people is an aspect of abundance too, because even though you may not connect at the depth and the timeliness or something, like responding to an email quickly or a phone call at length, the quality of the connection is still there. So you can come to it when you have the bandwidth. And we have a question from Tracy. Have there been times when everything has felt heavy personally and career wise in regards to either one or both crashing and burning? And how did you get through it? I'd say, yes, of course, I totally identify with that sensation of like feeling like things are heavy personally and career wise, or one or the other. Um, I say I try to keep the personal part first. And I think that's why I've had some longevity as an artist and I've been able to move from project to project, is that I do keep my personal life first. So taking care of the kids and knowing that they're okay is the first thing for me. And also, I try to keep taking care of myself, not be too hard on myself for too long. I think there's some times when I'm too self-critical because I run so many aspects of my business as a musician. I'm a songwriter, I'm a performer, I'm a producer. I executive produce my recorded projects. I'm a grant writer, because I'll speak about that too if we have a second. Oh, we don't have so much time. We have 7 minutes.
But I feel like we can have a part 2.
Oh, for sure.
And 3 and 4.
Yes.
We'll make it a series.
Yeah.
I love you all.
We're now the hosts of the All the Pretty Birds / Candice Hoy's Zoom series, guys. Would you love that?
Yes, we should, because there's abundance, right?
Yeah.
So I grants, and I encourage all of you in every field. It's Buy Black Friday. Invest in yourself today. Invest in yourself today. There are grants and there are endowments and there are institutional supports that can make you not feel like you're going to crash and burn career wise. So I'll stick a little pin in that and say, Tamu, did your mom ever say stick a pin?
Yes, of course.
Like,
of course.
pin.
Of course. She said other things too.
Means like, stay right there on that point. Stick a pin in career wise. Let's all explore grant opportunities for small businesses, for my writers, my painters, my digital artists, filmmakers, my stylists, my editorial, content creators, and if there are any musicians. Those are opportunities that we should throw our hat in the ring. That has been something that has helped me to sustain. I won the New York City Women's Grant in 2020 that helped me to fund the rest of my album, never knowing when I applied that all my performances would be gone for 2020 and 2021, essentially. And I also pivoted and I added another business. And I sometimes, Tracy, I feel like I'm going to crash and burn. But I'm not actually going to crash and burn. And that's another helpful thing, is like remembering the difference between perception and where you are. And so journaling, mood boards, like rough recordings of my work, things that help me keep track of where I'm going in a concrete way, keep me from succumbing to my negative feelings and self-talk, like keeping a perspective on what I've actually done. And I only started applying for grants in 2019, but it's like a late bloomer thing. I am so glad I did, because ultimately in 2020, I was winning them too, starting when I started applying, but I hadn't really taken that as an option for me. And I realized, no, you're a transformative artist. You're doing the storytelling in a way that is not the norm. So you should have institutional support. And that's been a big deal for me. So those are some concrete things. Yeah.
I concur. I totally concur. Totally. So let's, in closing, Milan is going to share our recorded session program together so that you guys can see it. If you have any other questions, just email Milan and we'll answer them, because maybe maybe the questions aren't coming to you right now, but we'd love to follow up. We'd enjoy that. I really want to thank you guys for joining us today. This has been so much fun. It's felt so intimate. I love this. I really love this format. I love that I can be totally myself. And yeah, do you have anything else, Candice?
Yes, I do. I want to say that I absolutely adore you. And every time we sit down, I know I'm not trying to embarrass you, but every time we sit down and across the miles, I feel more myself around you. And it's so empowering and so beautiful. And you make me laugh and smile and think. I know I'm overwhelming her right now, but I don't feel that way, hopefully.
No, I feel that we have a cosmic connection because, guys, these were all my notes for the Zoom, right? And I was driving Candice and Milan crazy the other night because I wanted a script and like I prepared everything, and the universe was not having it, guys. Like I literally thought that I was on time for the run through. I like don't have lip gloss on. I was like, this is the run through. I have to say that the universe has brought us together through our wonderful friends, and I feel that there's this moment of growth for us, and I feel that you are enriching me so much because this experience obviously is going to it's important for my growth, and it's kind of like, you know, I am overwhelmed because it's not lost on me where I wanted to go, but what actually happened. And I think it's the energy that you brought to me, and I am so grateful. You know, I am so grateful.
I've been a fan of all the pretty birds for a while, certainly before we got to meet in person. And I want to thank you for welcoming me, and Milan too, and your entire team, some of whom are here with us. And I love being a part of the community, and this is such a special way. And we just like, we want to say, and I say this, I speak with my friend, our voices together, because we want to celebrate you all. And that's why we wanted to do this. And we wanted to show you that quickly we can throw up a link and we can all be together. And as well as you see the two of us connect across so many miles, don't let anything stop you from connecting with your dream, your vision for what you want it to be, and your people. We are your people. You know, obviously we're online. You can find us, follow us there. Milan has put some good links. But I also want to say, for all the pretty birds, oh, okay, she has a theme that she has coming up for her content, and I'll let Tamu share about it, and I'll tell you about me. You can follow my journey into the album release in 2021 online. You can listen to me wherever you like to hear music. I'm on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube, and check out the mini film. And I've been collaborating with some other artists, a wonderful painter who may be here, and some writers. I wrote some essays in this time I'll be releasing, and definitely more music. And I'm going to keep it dynamic and creative as far as releasing things. So just follow that and tune in.
We're going to share all of the pertinent links, right, Milan? We'll share them so everyone has them outside of the chat. We'll do a follow-up with all the links.
Yes, I'm going to follow up with everyone. We'll have a feature going out next week that will be available to everybody through all the pretty birds. If that is it, do you guys have any closing remarks to send our viewers off?
I gave mine. I thank you all. It's Friendsgiving for real, and we thank you for your presence.
Yes, and I want to thank all of the team that's here. You guys, you know how I feel about you. You walk in grace. You walk in grace. Okay, wait, we have one more. Love you. Yes, love you all. Thank you all. And it's Friday, and have a nice weekend.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
you. It was so much fun.
All right.